Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. If you're looking for PTCGO codes, including the new stuff from Rebel Clash, go ahead and check out the Poketown store. You can get a 5% discount on your orders using that code OmniPoke. For today's video, we are looking at ADP Spiritomb. It's the archetype that Ross Cawthon has piloted in all 3 qualifiers, and he's the top of the limitless standings right now. He's locked in, I think, for the Invitational itself, and this entire time he's brought his own creation, ADP Tomb, and that includes the new Rebel Clash format, so he believes it still stands up against the likes of Dragapult, and seems like the format leaning more towards Baby Blounds and Pikarom isn't actually the worst for a deck like this either, so I felt like I was gonna profile this. I've been testing a lot of Spiritomb even on stream lately. I have been testing a lot of the Spiritomb Beast list, which is all like 1 prizes, but I also believe that the ADP Tomb still carries a lot of merit. I am playing a few different cards from Ross's most recent 60, where he was playing 4 copies of Super Scoop Up. Now, Scoop Up is really interesting because obviously you can deny prizes from people and make yourself more Puritan 1 prize once you've got that GX attack off, or it could also enable yourself to get more Dedenne changes throughout the late game and push for boss's orders. So I do think there's merit to the 4 Super Scoop Up that you played. It's actually very good in practice when you have been trying out that 60. Also just enabling a free bench space for yourself to free up the board for an extra Spiritomb and stuff like that can be very beneficial. So I'm not discrediting the 4 Super Scoop Up that you played, but the list I'm showing is, you know, I never really like relying on coin flips myself at times, and they have been a little bit niche for me a lot of the time. As long as you can manage your resources, normally it's not too integral and you can still close out games in a lot of spots. So at the moment it's a card that I have dropped for other pieces, but we'll talk about my inclusions as we go through the list. We'll start off with ADP. He is the, you know, integral pieces of the early game, basically. You're trying to work towards this Altered Creation GX attack. For a metal and a water, you are able to GX attack and you deal 30 extra damage for the rest of the game, and also when you knock out your opponent's stuff, you get to take an additional prize card, and yeah, that's just still really insane, obviously. The damage buff is fantastic for Spiritomb. It helps you push on tag team Pokemon, especially with Shrine tick damage. Also, it means you can push on Zacians and things like that, even over Frying Pans. So yeah, the damage output is very, very strong, and obviously the extra prize that you're taking is phenomenal, especially for us capitalizing on Dedennes, Boltons, Zeraoras, Oricorio GXs, Zacians, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a very good GX attack to have. Ultimate Ray isn't really as integral as it is in perhaps things like the Zacian-based build, but still can be a handy option for you if you do just want to get that 180 damage on after you've used the Altered Creation. It can be fine. You can sometimes thin 1 or 2 basic energies out of your deck just to play around like Tool Scrapper or play around Absol, those sorts of things if you really want to. But for the most part, you're pretty content to just use it for the GX attack, and then you move straight into the Spiritomb army. That's usually what we do here. Also worth noting is, obviously, this is a GX Pokemon. You all know that. But there's some fun, intricate stuff we can do with Jynx and Shrine. It's another component of this archetype, for sure. So it's actually important that this guy says the word GX up here, so we can get extra Shrine ticks throughout the game for Jynx to move around. Spiritomb is the main attacker though, and obviously one of the first things that jumps out to you is its dark typing, probably the most relevant dark type we have in the format for trying to punish Dragapult. Now that doesn't mean we can just bench triple Spiritomb and laugh at our opponent in that sort of matchup. You have to be much more careful because Spiritomb is very squishy. It only has 60 base hit points, so Dragapult can have a field day against you if you're not careful. But that's not to say that you can't put him down, build Spite onto him, use Jynx to move damage counters onto him, use Rainbow Energies, Hustle Belts all in 1 turn, and then bop a Dragapult in 1 hit. That certainly can happen, so yeah, the Spiritomb is okay against the Dragapult matchup. Do be careful of over-damaging yourself. You can play into things like the Horror Energy, so you do have to play careful in that matchup for sure, but Spiritomb is a nice way of basically 1-hit KOing them, which not many other archetypes can do all that easily. So yeah, Spiritomb's nice in that regard. Obviously, with that GX attack buff and things like Hustle Belt buff, you have a lot of invisible damage here that Anguish Cry does really get to good numbers. We're talking that 220, 250 sort of line is the limit for the Spiritomb. So hopefully some tag team Pokemon get put into range by Shrine, and hopefully we can also capitalize on other things on the bench like Zacians and Dedennes and whatnot to close out those easy prize cards. That is the main core here. But just being a one prize Pokemon that can deal a silly amount of damage is really good. And obviously your opening turns focusing on Alter Creation gives you time to build Spite naturally, so that by the time you use your GX attack, you normally have 1 or 2 Spiritombs pretty much lined up to go for the rest of the game. And sometimes it can only be 1 or 2 attacks until the game's concluded, so that's really good. That's the usual goal, very similar to how ADP Zacian tries to play. From there, we just have the supporting cast. We have the Jirachis, obviously great starts for us, can get us towards Ball Search, can get us towards Acrobikes, or just supporters in general, so that we can get rolling, which is obviously very good for us, giving us outs against Reset Stamp and such. We've got Jynx, which is very much a partner that goes alongside the Spiritomb. You can use that ominous posture to move damage counters around our stuff. It means that we can make the most out of building Spite every turn with every Spiritomb that we have. Even if you're going to like self-knock out, you can ominous posture off and then do an extra build Spite, and then you can store those damage counters for later for you to put onto fresh Spiritombs if they've just hit the board. That's how we can punish a Dragapult all in one turn, which is very cool. Also, like I said, Shrine ticks on your own things, like your ADP. You can remove the damage from yourself, so you're less punished by that stadium, whilst also, you know, building up fuel for your Spiritombs, which is very cool. So Jynx is a main reason why we're able to play no counter stadium to Shrine, and also so that we can have this sort of burst damage against Dragapult. Very important card to have 2 copies of. Ross has played as many as 3 copies, so that should give you a good indicator of just how important Jynx is in certain situations. From there, we are playing 1 copy of Mew. I think it's just a really good card in the format right now, when Baby Blacephalon, that often uses Cramorant, is a big deck, and Pikarom, trying to Tag Bolt everything, is also a big deck. And I think Spiritomb is very vulnerable to Tag Bolt in general, because they can knock out 2 tombs in once, and then your damage output like just vanishes. So Mew is definitely a nice card in the format right now, and it's one that we can take advantage of here. We are going to play a Phione as well. It's a nice option around Obstagoon, otherwise we would have no option against them. It's also pretty good against any controlling decks that are still out there in the format, and at the end of the day, there are certain situations where you're not able to boss because you're looking for attachments or your next Spiritomb, this, that, and the other. So a Phione can be a nice way of just shifting something out of the way to close games, so it's a nice option to have always, which is cool. And finally, we just have that 1 copy of Dedenne-GX. Just the 1 copy, a lot less than most other decks out there, but you have to try and be cautious when using Dedenne. Either it's because you've whiffed early game attachments or something like that, and you just are forced to put him down so you can get towards your Alter Creation faster, or it's that sort of late game push card to try and dig towards your Great Catcher or your boss. That's normally how it does work out. Onto the trainers now. Like I said, Ross was playing 4 Super Scoop Up, and the spaces that I've changed for those Scoop Ups are 2 PokéNavs, 1 Mew, and a Escape Board. Those are the 4 additions that I made to his 60. Now, PokéNav is definitely not a great card, but it definitely serves a purpose in this list. Like I said, your opening is all about just getting energies for your Alter Creation, and you also want to find your Spiritombs the earlier the better, because the faster you find those guys, the faster you can start building Spite, and that's the whole strategy here. So I've got these in. I think they're slightly more versatile than something like a Friend Ball or a Great Ball. These are other alternatives that I have thought about. As I mentioned, you do want to use your Dedenne-GX sparingly, because sometimes it's just very awkward to give that guy up, because then your opponent can simply go through 1 ADP, 1 Dedenne, 1 Spiritomb, and then the whole 1 priziness is pointless of this list. So we are playing PokéNavs. It can give you a bit of insight. It does have some internal synergy with your Acrobikes and your Stellar Wishes, so that's sometimes a little bit cool. But usually it's just extra push potential towards those early basics like ADP or Tomb, as well as just attachments, because you've got to find attachment turn 1 on all your dudes, and it feels better than Spinner because we only play 2 basic energy cards, and yeah, so PokéNav, not a great card, but a decent card in Spiritomb, and I've tried it in Beasts, and I've tried it in this list, and it's been like okay enough for me to want to keep playing in low counts. So yeah, but you can certainly make these cuts if you want to. I'm not going to hate anyone cutting PokéNav from a list normally. A couple copies of Tag Call, a more guaranteed way of getting our ADPs. The other thing I tried outside of the PokéNav is adding in 1 Viridian, 1 Guzhala. Those cards, again, help you get early game attachments. Also, Guzhala is pretty reasonable at grabbing something like a Hustle Belt Shrine Rainbow combo. That's really, really strong. But typically, again, going back to the fact that we don't want to be forced to put down Dedenne-GX, Guzhala not helping us progress our... or like thin the deck, or like churn through the deck, I guess you could say, leaves us with really small hand sizes, and then it's hard to like weave in boss in the sort of mid game. So although Guzhala is very strong for getting that 1 turn of tempo, overall you'd rather be cycling through the deck more often with this. So I'm preferring the Navs to the Guzhala Viridian package, but something you can try out. It's something that I've tried in here before. From there, we've got the 4 of the good cards, the Acrobikes, the Switches, and the Quick Balls, all pretty standard stuff. Quick Ball grabbing everything, Tag Call for the Sinlin for draw, as well as the ADPs, obviously essential pieces, Acros obviously helping us dig, and Switches to move between our dudes, most importantly, so that we can Stellar Wish and get the full value there. For the stadiums, I am playing that double Shrine. Now, I have mentioned that Viridian is a potential other option that you can play as a one-of in here. I would only play the Viridian if I was playing Guzhala, because then Tag Call for Guzhala gives you your first 2 attachments sorted, because you can use the Rainbow or Aurora that you find from the initial Guzhala, and then you can Viridian find a basic the following turn. So if you do want to go down that route, you certainly can. Also, it's sometimes nice to have a bounce to your own Shrine if you're up against other decks that play Shrine, so you're not constantly jinxing off the ADP, and even if you are constantly jinxing off, you're still receiving damage in the in-between turns. So yeah, you are slowly whittling down, even with Jynx taking some of that damage off, so something to bear in mind. We are playing that Sinlin, makes the Tag Calls just kind of better cards in the deck, which is really nice, and it can give us extra hand disruption from Marnie, or extra gust potential with the boss, which is very good. We are still playing those boss, obviously, when you're only doing 1 energy attachment on things like Spiritomb in that mid-game. It can certainly just put in a shift for us taking additional prizes on whatever we're picking up, which is cool, or something we've, you know, let Shrine tick down on a tag team until it's in range of an Anguish Cry, can be very good. Marnie's that hand disruption, whilst also being able to shuffle draw, which is always good, and research for digging deep into the deck. We're playing a couple copies of Big Charm. It can make our ADP a little bit chunkier, which is always nice. It also means that we're able to proactively bench Spiritomb sometimes against Dragapult. When you have 90 hit points, it's a lot safer to just sit and chill, maybe even build Spite once. Just arrogantly build Spite once or twice with your Spiritomb against the Dragapult. Really put some fear into them. I think almost every Dragapult will not be playing Tool Scrapper, because usually the deck wants to be playing other tech cards, and I don't think Tool Scrapper is actually like that strong in Dragapult. It's only really wanting to target like exactly Big Charms in like Pikarom or this deck, and that's really not worth the space. So we're going to try and take advantage of that and Big Charm our Spiritomb against Dragapult. It's always very fun, and like I said, it's also a nice option on ADP. We've got the double Escape Board for our switching outs. I wanted to up it to 2, because we're no longer playing those super scoop ups. And we are playing the Hustle Belt. It's obviously the best way to buff damage with your Spiritomb. You have a hidden 90 damage if you are at 30 hit points or less and you've used Alter Creation. So the Anguish Cry really scales pretty far, which is very good. Then we have 10 energy total, 4 Auroras, 4 Rainbows. Obviously that extra damage is beneficial to us. And a couple additional energy cards so that we don't whiff in those opening turns. I've already mentioned a few other options. Like I said, Ross was playing those quad scoop-ups, which can be interesting for prize denial and making yourself a Puritan 1 prize deck in that sort of mid-game. If you've been able to GS attack and you haven't been bopped immediately, you can just throw all of your scoop-ups down in 1 turn, try and get 1 heads, pick up that ADP, and just be left with 1 prizes, which is very cool. That's pretty much like the main use I see for it. It's like if ADP tanks, or if you've had to play Dedenne early and then you can like remove it in the mid game, it can be really nice. So gives you a bit of leeway, really, those super scoop ups. But I don't like playing those flip cards, especially when they're only good in like 2 or 3 situations in most games. So yeah, I feel it's too situational for me. So there's that Guzhala package that I mentioned with Viridian Guzhala as 1/1 lines. PokéNavs or Great Balls or Friend Balls. These are all cards that I have also considered. And the other thing I've thought about is just cutting the boss altogether, also cutting those 2 PokéNavs and going to custom catchers, because a lot of the time we are digging for our next Spiritomb, our next Rainbow or Aurora, sometimes even our next Hustle Belt is required to close games, so Stellar Wishing a bunch, working towards those custom catchers can be a really nice deal, but at the moment, this is what we are rocking with, very similar to Cawthon's 60. So let's jump into the ladder and see how ADP Tomb goes. I've been trying a lot of Spiritomb recently. A lot of the time I've been trying the more single prize based route with beasts, so you can weave in things like Nihilego and Buzzwole, but I do think that the ADP is probably more well-rounded matchup wise. I think you have a slightly better time against opposing ADP decks, and I also think you're way better against control when you are playing your own ADP, whereas the Spiritomb Beast is more kind of streamlined to just beating Blounds and Pikarom. But it may still be a low-key kind of sleeper for Q4, so something to bear in mind. I do think a decent amount of people will be rocking Tomb in upcoming events, so something to bear in mind for sure. We've got a decent opening here. We've got a Tomb, we've got a couple bikes, Aurora Energy, so really all we're digging for with a couple bikes and a Stellar Wish is hopefully a Tag Call. We could even use Marnie if we want to dig for that ADP to get the optimal attachment down. We are going to see a Zigzagoon from the opponent. Possibly we are up against Obstagoon, and the fact that they are proactively benching Zigzag might give us that impression. They're also playing Cynthia, and I think that's typically a supporter you don't see a huge amount of, but if you are going to see it, it's probably Obstagoon. So we are playing Boss, we are playing Phione. Yeah, they're playing Red Candy, so it's definitely Obstagoon that we are up against. We obviously have to be careful with our Spiritombs here, but I think typically we're pretty reasonable in this matchup as long as Phione puts in work. So we hit the Quick Ball so we can grab our ADP off that guy, which is very nice. I can Quick Ball away the Marnie, Sinlin away the Great Catcher, get back the Marnie, and draw 3 cards. That's probably the best play I want to make. So this goes, we grab our ADP, we can see that Phione's in the deck. We have both Boss as well, which is good. Okay. We've got Big Charms as well, something I want to be aware of for sure, because I don't want to overexpose my Spiritombs if I can help it. Let's throw away Great Catcher, not going to be a useful card too much unless a Yveltal-GX hits the board for whatever reason. Shrine is like okay, but I don't think I need to proactively play it too much. I feel like Acrobike is okay as well. What am I wanting to protect here? What am I afraid of discarding? What am I pushing for? I'm really pushing for exactly switch outs for next turn. Yeah, not much actually. I can hold this. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Pretty happy tossing away the Jirachi here. Potentially toss away the Shrine as well. I imagine the ADP will be soaking up damage on his own. Let's Stellar Wish. Hustle sounds fine to me. Now, putting 1 damage counter on our Spiritomb puts us into Zigzag, Zigzag, Candy Goon range. So we'll just chill. It sounds super unreasonable, but with scoop up nets, they actually can kind of get there relatively easily. Especially when we know they have the candy already in hand. There's the incense, so they've got Obstagoon immediately. No attachments from them on turn 1 is the best news, so we're not getting obstructed with the Jirachi. Sorry, he's not obstructing through Jirachi this turn. Which is good. Don't put the damage on ADP, so I'm happy to have discarded Shrine early. Just gonna see the Cynthia from them. There is the early attachment onto Obstagoon. Gonna see the Stellar Wish for another Cynthia. Oh, they do play Stealthy Hood, so that's a problem. That's definitely a problem, because Phione is a big way of us getting around the Obstruct. We do not play Tool Scrapper currently. They are playing Scoop Up Nets, obviously, as well. So it's something that we do have to bear in mind. It may feel like we have enough prizes mapped out to beat him, even if they... Well, they can have multiple Pokemon benched, and then they can just play a couple Scoop Up Nets, and suddenly it's a lone goon, and we can't win. We don't have any, like, confusion shenanigans available to us in this list. Alright, it's like we're gonna start the Acro. We do not need more Jirachis right now. I can scout my top decks if I want to. Potentially thin a Pokemon from here. So we're gonna do this stuff, this stuff. So there's a Tag Call and a well, basically they're non-switch cards. I feel like the hand can go. That's a lot of Spiritombs. I can thin the ADP from my deck. And we can try and hit a switch out here so we can GX attack. Whiffing is very sad. That is very sad indeed. We put down another Tomb. Oh, that's rough. I could have PokéNav and not taken Dedenne and just left it there, and then had this Dedenne change push turn. But yeah, this is a yikes. We'll just have to pass. I could have built it. I could have built Spite on the Big Charmed Tomb, I guess. Not ideal. Giving them more turns, more attachments. Definitely a worry. They're going to pick up a Rosa with the Wish. We're going to see a Scoop Up Net on the active. Oh, on the bench, I should say. Choosing not to re-bench. Wow, so they're trying to double net us here. They're trying to net Obstruct and just insta-win. But that feels like a greedy play. Yeah. If we can find Phione this turn... Oh, I still need to GX attack. Otherwise I could have... Nah. Annoying. If we had GX last turn, I could just Phione and, like, body him here. That's a shame. It's a damn shame. Alright, how many energies we've been through? Not enough to be concerned. Let's toss this. Do I need more tombs? What else do I need the space for? Nothing really, right? There's a switch out. You'll love to see it. Boss sounds like a good deal. It is super duper duper concerning that they can just scoop up net once and then we're lone goon dead. GG. As long as they have energy. Well, that's good news. They're whiffing energy. They chose to whiff their first com as well, so they've got worse outs on this wish. They do find a research though. Alright, the good news is 3 scoop up nets are played. So, I mean, I only lose to the last scoop up net plus energy here. We're alive. Easiest quick ball top deck of my life. So close. So I have one more turn to top deck exactly Quick Ball or Phione. We have 16 cards left in our deck. I also have Acrobikes and Navs. We actually have a good amount of top decks that are usable. He'll have an extra turn to try and find a scoop up net. I could retreat Stellar Wish with this one probably, and try and dig towards a quick ball slash. Yeah, I think I should pay a retreat here. We'll do this. Should I play around? Let's do this. And pass. So, no scoop up net. Never scoop up net. Just an out obstruct. You know you wanna. Very good. So, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, Hustle Belt. So we do this, do this. We're at 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 190. We can quick ball this away. Reset the goon. Wish. Switches sound important. Board space sounds important. More damage on our stuff sounds okay. Let's bop the goon. 2 prize cards. It's by no means over, but it should be good for us. It's not easy for him to triple Zigzagoon. Oh boy. Why'd I say it? Why'd I say it out loud? Okay, so he's going for the guy at the back. Playing the long game, huh? There's a Lily's Polka Doll. counter gain. It's scary if he finds a second Zigzag, which looks like Rosa is doing right now. Oh, looks like he's just setting up for next turn. Seems like a good boss. So if he puts a second doll down, I'm a little concerned. Otherwise, I think we're just over the line. We are out of Gust, outside of exactly Phione, because we used our Sinlin early. Maybe that's regrettable at this point. I see Quick Ball for Zigzag. Very surprised they only put one down last turn, especially when they had Counter Gain in their deck. We could have been in big trubs otherwise. Stalowish hopefully for not a doll. Research. Okay, no doll. Excellent. I think we're guaranteed at this point. Well, Phione's pulled through. That is for sure. Phione pulling through. Very nice. We could have lost if they had found that earlier scoop up net combo. I think they were missing the energy attachment, right? That's all they were whiffing when they were doing the Jirachi dancing. Definitely a scary matchup, but playing Phione, double boss, and Sinlin gives us a chance. Oh, we're up against Carl Peters. Very good European player. With ADP decks, you'd normally like to go first. Currently whiffing energy, but you know what's in our hand. It's all gonna be okay. So we see the power of PokéNav. Looks like we're up against a controlling archetype. ADP typically decent against controlling archetypes. It's good that we've seen a Persian early. He's also playing Chip Chip Shenans. And unfortunately we don't have a Zacian to fall back on. Okay, so I can do some early quick ball stuff. I'm going to take the Dedenne. I really don't want to have to Dedenne because he could easily be trying to trap us and we have drawn way too many switches in this early game. But I don't feel like I'm doing anything else with this hand. I guess I could take Stalowish for next turn, but that's super reliant on me actually hitting off this PokéNav. It's probably better than Dedenne changing 3 switches away. Oh, the double. The double. You'll love to see it. So, Carl Peters actually knows the power of PokéNav because he played it in his Coco... his Coco Survivor deck. Fact. We did whiff though, which sucks. So we'll just pass. I could have nav'd if I wanted to. But I was trying to wish to increase the odds of the first nav hitting the most. More fool me. Getting hit with that Mars straight away. Hitting on nav feels bad, man. Not the ideal opening from him by the looks of things. If Mars is just his opening gambit, he'd just be dead with the Pidge. Yeah, it looks like he's just lone basicing right now. Oh, he's got Kuno. Keeping him alive. Okay. We're not doing too hot here ourselves. Times like this where you wish you had the Guzhala, right? We do get an energy down at least, and we can build some spite. It's good that Articuno has come down because he's... Well, he may not be playing Zacian, but I imagine he would be. Oh, they always have it, man. At least Pidgeotto first. Make me think you got lucky off airmails. Don't just have it in the opener. Alright. We will try again. I'm gonna keep building this spite. We've pitched 2 switch already. The Articuno, like, revving up with the GX attack is worrying. As soon as I GX, he can... Well, he's relatively likely to just cold crush it immediately, depending on how strong his hand is. Pal padding Fabamars, they're both good outs from his airmail here. Gonna see the recycle come down, just a pass. So we're still not guaranteed to actually get this GX attack off. Mew doesn't sound great here. I want a quick ball just to shuffle my deck so that switch is high to the top that I manied. We have switched double switch, double borders outs. I'd much rather have found a board, because this ADP is definitely getting stuck. I might Phione just to make it less easy for him to cold crush me immediately. I don't need to build any more spite, do I? I guess I can. This is fine. Alright, they got a low hand size. Hopefully there's not much going on here with just one airmail. Just 2 airmails. Ditto comes down. Airmail number 1. And number 2. Let's see, on Mars, we do have 2 ways of drawing cards. I much would have preferred him to hit the other 2 cards, obviously. It's always the way. Random Marsing, what a treat. I thought we would be on this. Alright, so let's grab some stuff back for resource management. Hey, that card we wanted last turn. Let's eat this. I can Great Catcher kill Bird. That sounds very good. Makes me a lot less vulnerable. Good prize cards. Energies is always good. Yeah, happy to see it. Again, he still has 41 cards in his deck. He does have the Surge though. Surge and then starts to airmail. Strange sequencing. There's a Rosa, so he could reaccumulate an Articuno, potentially, if he plays 2. A lot of old Birds lists do play 2. I'd be forced to play my 4th switch. Monka S. But I would win. So I guess he's not putting an Articuno down. Because I would just win. Pidgeotto Stamp Water, okay. Could be Stamp Jesse James Articuno play. Faber coming in. This is last support of a turn. Ugh, gets it with the crushing heads. Choosing to Faber before the outcome of the crushing as well. Really weird sequencing. Triggering, you might say. Alright. Energy on the Pidge. Resource coming in. I just know I'm losing to a boss's order at some point in this game, and it's going to make me very upset. We're going to see the monkey do the stuff. Let's bicycle. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this so I can reset that switch. What do you say? I say let's whiff it. Doing a Phione now? Yeah, I'll definitely bench the Phione now. And pass. It's a real shame that things have gone the way they've gone. The opening 3 switch in our opening hand. The PokéNav whiff on turn 1. The opening hand Fabber. There's a lot of things I'm salty about. In summary. Alright, his deck is still really large though, so... Still a lot for him to navigate through with airmails. Something that you always forget about this Encino. They get to the bottom real quick. Oh my god, he plays Anaporter, of course. You gotta give that the love heart. I mean, Slap can still kill a Pidgeotto, so... There are 14 cards left in our deck as well. Pokégear coming in from them. Surge is back. See if he's got any more treats for us. See an Elm. The late game Elm. A ton of birds already out. Always room for one more. Okay. Let's see a Chip from them. Haven't seen any dolls whatsoever. So I feel okay binning the boss with the research here. He's just going to resource. The fact that he played Chip means he probably has another Chip in hand, or at least can Rosa for it if he needs to. Oh, he gave us the rainbow. Well, we hit our last switch. This boss's orders is going to be very upsetting. We didn't draw into a Escape Board either. If I could have Escape Boarded this guy, I'd feel a little bit better, because then any attachment is a win condition. We're in a very fragile state. His hand is big. It's definitely got a Pidgeotto in there as well, so he's got 8 cards to see. He's already got Surge in hand. There it is. It's almost always Surge Stamp Mars. He's just resourced back a Chip. It's at the bottom of his deck currently. I could have played down Shrine to play around Play around the stamp a little bit better. Obviously I can lose the double Belelba. But this looks like more traditional birds. Probably playing one Belelba. We'll see though. Crushing Spammer coming in. Stamperoo. That's being discarded by Mars. Chill out. Oh, he's got a research. Okay. No guarantees. Only had one Belelba available. There's the Mars, surely. Just a surge. The boss trap, yeah. That sounds like a good plan. Told you that was happening, like, at the very beginning of the game. The feels. The feels when you don't get the escape board. How can I play differently other than attaching? Can't, right? Active, I mean. Yeah, seems like our only play. That should be the beating of us, to be honest. Unlike Zacian lists, we can't Intrepid Sword our way out of this lock. Also, we can't Oranguru our way out of this lock. Definitely, the hand control pieces is way more vulnerable with those cards in the format, but I guess if the expectation is going to be Baby Blounds and Pikarom as the most popular decks, you don't have to worry about that. Pikarom's hard to beat though because they have 14 energy to crunch through and they have full voltage GX as well. He gusts Phione here, I guess. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're just dead. Outside of some wild chips that he can't get his way around. Faber coming in. Those guys. That's not a helpful card for us. We play this to not be a gust target for him. No, but he never. No, there's no reason to. We're dead. He's unfortunately now whittling down to that point where he is in the monkey loop with the birds. Do I think Pidgeotto Control is going to come back? No, not really. But I think it's okay against Baby Blounds. We're just seeing Carl put the squeeze on us now. Just gonna get the chip back. Usual stuff. Right, we're gonna concede. Alright, I'm gonna get one more game in. That was depressing. Pidgeot to control. Because Dragapult doesn't exist. Let's get one more. So far we've faced goons and birds. This is not the format I was promised. We do get to kick off here. Pretty decent hand. We've got a bike and a wish to try and find a quick ball or a tag call. Alright, we'll fire off the bicycle first. Let's try and hit one of our 6 outs. That's always with everything today, I guess. Why hit what you need when you can miss it? The feels. We're in no position to boss anytime soon, so we'll just swing an energy onto Spiritomb. Sometimes we can still tempo early with a Tomb and then get into the mid to late game with the ADP GX if we really need to. Let's start up against Baby Blounds. There you get to fire off the welder out the gates. Straight into the wish. We can't Puritan 1 prize v 1 prize him because we don't have enough attacking fuel. Then again, he can't Puritan 1 prize v 1 prize a lot of the time as well, so we'll see how this goes for him. Able to nav for a Hearth. Binning a switch means he already has the switch out for this Jirachi if he wants to go for an early circus. Obviously the Hearth means he can attach and throw one away. And that's going to be what we're seeing. Early smack from him. Definitely good. I will still bench ADP here. I can attach to it. I can try and knock out this Blound this turn, and then I can put myself into killing Oricorio and a Blacephalon. I am super tempted to Mani him, because if I kill and Mani, we're in such good shape. But I need to find myself a Spiritomb and an Energy, so it's probably too much to ask for. We definitely want to find another energy. Sorry, another tomb. I think quick for quick goes. Want to make sure we're building as much spite as possible. I feel like bidding the entire hand is a little bit risky, but keeping the hearth around is scary for us. So I'm hoping to GX attack on the turn that we Marnie, and then we hope that we can also find a counter stadium, and that it's difficult for him to get the full circus off on us under the Marnie. We'll see. They're quick balling away Dedenne. Grabbing Eldegoss, that's good for us. That can be the one of the knockouts that gets us 3 prize cards. So I can GX, go through 1 Blown, and then go through 1 Eldegoss. They are grabbing the pieces for a welder here. Oh, okay, he's doing it with the Eldegoss. Interesting. Okay, so he's just bopping the tomb real quick. Beastspringer hits the bin. Obviously not useful at this point. Couple energies. Obviously he needs to find more Pokemon here to actually be able to use Float Up. He's going to bounce his Stadium for 3 more cards. He does find another Jirachi. Good for him. Stellawish still needs to switch out potentially. 2 down the drain already, but there's the Escape Board. The only real good news in all this is that his deck is still going to be pretty fat. And under the Marnie, it's still a lot for him to bop the ADP. Especially if I find a Big Charm. If I find Big Charm, I probably keep the Heat Factory. Otherwise, I try and Shrine myself. So this doesn't change anything, so I can always Jynx. This is fine. This is fine. I'd rather keep the Dedenne in the deck. We don't find Stadium or Big Charm, but I could switch for the chance. Okay, looks like we're Stadiuming. Jinxing off of this bloke onto this bloke. Putting down this guy. Try and starve him of those draws. Let's put down more tombs. Build up some spites. Get that GX attack off. So both Marnies played, but we do have the Sinlin for next turn. We have an attachment for next turn. Ultimate Ray kills basically everything but a Zacian that he could put active. Ooh, Stellar Wishes for a space that can get him towards a Baby Blown. Maybe to everything else if he wants. Energy drop. Just the pass, that's good news. Alright. We do not play any Ultra Beasts, so let's draw 3 cards. Again, we're still hoping for Big Charm. Never happening for us. The 1 can be thrown over here. Let's do this. Even an Escape Board would have been good there. I don't want to overcommit into Mew because Mew is certainly a card he can be playing. Smack with the Ultimate Ray. Take these energies out of the deck, because we don't want to draw into those. We already have a bunch of energies in our hand. I guess we'll power up the Slap. I guess I could have put more onto the ADP, so that if it doesn't die, we can make some big plays, but I think it's pretty negligible. Let's see the Ultra Space into the Wish. There is Welder. Scary times. You can weld. You still need Flint Crystal or Flint Retrieval. Looks like it's happening. Yeah, threw away an energy, so it's almost certainly Crystal in hand. Oh, he benched the Blown. Oh, now we win on boss. Pretty sure he wasn't meant to bench that. We have one boss remaining in the deck. We also have Great Catcher, right? I'll scout with space first, because I can't remember if it's still in the deck or not. There's the Big Charm after forever. Okay, so the Great Catcher is prized or otherwise gone. Yeah, it's prized. But we do have one Quick Ball out, one PokéNav out for Dead Change. Tag Call does nothing for us. More Wishes is okay as well. Okay. Alright, Acro. If I'm doing more Wishes, the switch makes the most sense. Actually, this is our last switch, right? So both of these are dead now. Okay, so just killed an out for myself immediately. Let's see if Wish gets us there. Nice. Boss Man coming in. Whew. So we had from that Wish we had Boss and Ball to get us close. It's not super high odds, but also we prized the Great Catcher and we had like a decent chance of taking it from the prize as well. So yeah, we were able to squeak out a win against Baby Blowns. Timing the Marnie is important. Obviously we couldn't make our ADP too bulky, but our initial attachment was to the Spiritomb. So it made our prize map pretty strange. We did lose to a bird control, but I wouldn't sweat it too much. I think against Cincino control, they're probably playing less handlock shenanigans. And let's face it, we missed our turn 1 attachment. We had to bin switches off early. So I think a few things just didn't really go our way there. And we were able to beat Goons. Kind of against the run of play. If they'd found a energy scoop up net at a certain point in the game, we would have got bodied. So let me know what you think about ADP Tomb. I think you're going to have to test it yourselves if you want to see more of the Baby Blowns matchup and the Pika Rom matchup. Didn't see PokéNav do too much either. It was mainly just whiffing off the nav. So like I said, flexible card for sure. But let me know what you guys think of ADP Tomb in general. Hope you're rooting for Cawthon as well, one of the legends of the game. Can't wait to see how he does in the Qualifier 4 if he chooses to play it, and also the Invitational itself, because I'm sure he'll get there. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for another deck analysis. Cheers.